that we'd be here today with Dricus du Plessis as the middleweight champion of the world. I didn't know.
Plessis, man, unbelievable. Just goes to show grit, heart, determination, being in shape and having a varied threat. Mixed martial arts, man, you've got to be able to do it all.
From one of the most underrated and underappreciated fighters in the UFC to the best middleweight on the planet, Dricus du Plessis has risen to the top by putting away the division's best in the most terrifying of ways possible. The South African is a scary, scary dude, and the reality of fighting him, well, that's a nightmare we're about to dive into. Dricus du Plessis started his MMA career in 2013, and within 6 years, he racked up an impressive record of 14 wins and just 2 losses, winning belts in both promotions he competed in. His first title win at middleweight came against the cocky Yannick Bahati at UFC 62, when the Brit let his tongue loose before their clash in 2017.
Him and Mr. Opperman have been in the toilet together in stored up the ass, that's what I heard. So, but size doesn't matter, you know. This is a fight. I believe I've got more skill than him, and I'll put him away in the first and second round, you know. Look at the size of his head, you know. You can tell he's been enjoying steroid with Mr. Opperman, so fuck CIT. You know what I mean? So UTC all the way. I don't give a shit. This ain't no team versus team. This is Dricus versus Yannick Bahati, so all the other matches don't really matter, you know what I mean? So it's a pleasure to finally meet my African son in Dricus, you know, so, and Daddy's back, all right?
On top of that, Bahati even slapped du Plessis during their pre-fight face-off. But when the pressure was at its peak, the Brit crumbled, falling into despair as du Plessis locked in a tight guillotine and forced him to tap out.
Bahati is trying to hold on. Du Plessis is squeezing for all his worth. He's a strong man. Dricus did it! Of the hexagon, holding both the belts. I'm going to ask you, is he the best fighter in UFC?
A year later, du Plessis stopped Roberto Soldic to win the KSW welterweight title.
With a big shot that came from nowhere. Du Plessis in there, it's all over!
Which he lost in their immediate rematch. 2 fights later, du Plessis was in the UFC, where he debuted against Marcus Perez, who also made the grave mistake of underestimating his foe.
He's a MMA fighter. He's a strike and grappling and has jiu-jitsu, but no good strike and no good jiu-jitsu as a middle.
Inside TKO, Perez vanished after the fight, but du Plessis stepped up and declared that this was just the start of his journey to becoming the GOAT.
I said it before, if you don't have a mission to be the greatest of all time, you shouldn't be here. You're going to get hurt. I want to be the greatest to ever do this sport.
It was, of course, too early for the top guys to take notice, so du Plessis kept fighting and winning until he eventually landed bouts against names like Darren Till.
Guy, you're a nice South African guy, so I love you, lad.
The South African came out swinging as both men traded blows in a fearless firefight. Du Plessis, however, never let up, and in the 3rd round, he secured a takedown and finished the job. While many thought DDP was running on fumes after the grueling war, he proved him wrong yet again.
He got it. Dricus du Plessis didn't stop the fight.
Yeah, well, firstly, the gas tank can never be empty. It can go to a little bit low, but never goes to empty.
Du Plessis' next challenge was even tougher as he took on wrestling ace Derek Brunson, a fighter many believed would out-grapple the South African.
I would say, this is going to be his hardest test. When you're in high school, you take all these tests and you got the finals. So it's the finals for him to see exactly where he's at. So
Brunson, along with many others, found out exactly where du Plessis stood, a level most doubted he could reach. Du Plessis didn't just prove to be stronger, bigger, and more skilled. He outclassed Brunson at his own game, forcing a corner stoppage to seal the victory.
Plessis beat Derek Brunson. They threw the towel in. 1 second left. They had the best intentions, but well done to Dricus du Plessis.
Should have been stopped. And I applaud his corner for throwing in the towel.
After defeating Brunson, du Plessis was 5-0 in the UFC and decided it was the perfect moment to call out the reigning champ, Israel Adesanya. He did so by saying that neither Adesanya nor then UFC champs Kamaru Usman and Francis Ngannou were true African champions since they don't live and train in their place of birth.
I mean, did those belts ever go to Africa? As far as I know, it came to America and New Zealand. I'm going to take a belt to Africa.
Du Plessis' trash talking hit home and angered Adesanya to the point that he warned DDP of dire consequences.
Big boys, you gotta choose your words wisely, but I don't want to give him no clout. But if he does work, and I pray to God he keeps winning, I will gladly drag his carcass across South Africa.
If du Plessis was trying to talk his way into a title shot with those comments, it didn't go as planned. Instead, he found himself matched up against former champ Robert Whittaker, who was considered a contender killer at that time.
I'm going to try and dismantle him. I'm going to try and create holes and opportunity that I can exploit to take the win.
Whittaker was a strong -300 favorite going into the fight, with most people giving du Plessis no chance at all. But du Plessis had other plans and was ready to shock everyone and light up the arena. At UFC 290, du Plessis showed once again that despite being awkward on his feet and having a questionable gas tank, he was an absolute monster. Du Plessis had a ton of trouble against Whittaker early, but he bounced back to deliver one of the biggest knockouts of his career, cementing his spot as the top contender in the division. Right after the win, du Plessis and Adesanya had an intense face-off in the cage, where Izzy unleashed a rant filled with the N-word.
This is my African brother right here. Let's go. What's up?
The UFC wanted du Plessis and Adesanya to fight at UFC 293, just 3 months after DDP's win over Whittaker, but du Plessis turned it down due to an injury. The UFC then turned to Sean Strickland, who stepped in, dominated Adesanya for 5 rounds, and pulled off one of the biggest upsets in UFC history to win the belt. 4 months later, du Plessis earned a title shot against Strickland, who didn't hold back and took every chance to talk trash about DDP.
Dricus, we're gonna try to fucking kill each other for you guys. Dricus, can I get agreement? To the fucking death. To the fucking death. Yeah!
When Dricus hit back, he proved he was just as fierce with his words as he is with his fists inside the cage, as he brought up Strickland's uncomfortable past with an abusive father that badly rattled the champ. The fight between the two went down at UFC 297, where they went toe-to-toe in a 5-round war. Du Plessis came out on top with a nail-biting decision, achieving his lifelong dream of becoming a UFC champion. Du Plessis was now the best in the world.
It felt like 15 years of work, of dreaming, of sacrificing, of everything came together in one single sentence.
6 months after du Plessis captured the belt, Israel Adesanya announced his comeback after a long break and set up a middleweight title grudge match with du Plessis at UFC 305. From press conferences to face-offs, the buildup was nasty, with Adesanya throwing verbal jabs at DDP every chance he got.
I just want to show you guys how great I am. And he said himself, like, he has the belt to prove that he's great. I was great without the belt. I was great before the belt, and I'll be great after the belt. I'm Israel Adesanya, and I'll remind you guys that I'm the last stylebender.
Izzy talked a big game, but when Dricus made him face the harsh truth of messing with him, Adesanya was left in tears.
Saying that I
Bro,
made it
shut
about
the fuck
culture,
up. You don't even know anything about my
culture.
story. You have no idea who the fuck
I don't
I
care
am.
about your story. I don't care about your story.
Listen, my father and myself had to wake up at 4 a.m. and clean the banks while my mom studies to be a nurse. You don't know my fucking story. Don't fucking speak of my story if you don't know my story.
I don't care.
I will show you who you are Sunday. So right now, shut the fuck up.
I can't wait.
I do this for the people I love, and I'll fight for you forever. I swear to God.
Watch this. Look, I'm a fucking human being. I am a man. I can cry and whoop your ass at the same time. I feel the love from the crowd. First time I fought here, 221. That was February 2018. That was me making my dream come true. Sunday, I'm gonna fucking kill your dreams, bitch. I wanna fucking kill your dreams.
After making Adesanya cry at the press conference, du Plessis tore him apart with relentless pace and pressure inside the cage, eventually choking him out in the 4th round.
Dricus has tremendous punch power. Dricus was on top of him, squeezing with everything that he's got. Everybody spoke about the sheer raw power of Dricus du Plessis. He was cranking on that face, squeezing with all of his might, and of course the man was exhausted because it was 3 minutes 38 in the 4th round. And of course, Dricus du Plessis remains the middleweight champion of the world.
Adesanya got beaten so thoroughly that he went from being a hater to actually becoming a fan of du Plessis.
And I already knew he was a fan of me. I knew he was a fan of me, but I guess now I'm a fan of his.
You see, Dricus doesn't just beat people up, he humbles them, and that's the kind of fighter you don't want to mess with. The next time du Plessis enters the cage, he'll be up against a former foe in Sean Strickland. Will Tarzan relive the scary reality of fighting Dricus du Plessis? Let us know in the comments. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.